It's a map. Some Zergs like it, some Terrans like it, but for very different reasons from Daybreak. Daybreak's a map where if you can turtle, you're comfortable. This is a map where if you can be aggressive, if you can counterattack, if you can take advantage of the fact that there's so many different paths, so many different ways to attack, then you're comfortable. But on this map, I've actually seen Beastie play turtleneck before. Might be something to watch out for from him. But I would expect him to go back to a more standard style, just because his standard play worked so well in the first game, and then he somehow managed to lose the second game, even though he looked like a much better player in the first set.
Yeah, I definitely think BC probably going to go back to his 3 base play, especially in this map where the 3rd base is so easy to get so close to your main. No reason to really do anything else. One thing I don't like about this map for Zerg is when you take your 4th base on the low ground in the middle, alternates to do siege up the high ground, it can be really hard to defend, so you need to really watch that you have your hive timings out right and stuff like that. But overall, I think it's still a pretty even map. You can see both Ling Infestor and Muta on here, usually, or even like a Roach Bane attack, I think is very good. And we've been wanting KiLLeR to do it, and I hope he does.
It would be nice if he did that. I feel it's a pretty bad map for mutas for harassment just because there's so little surface area for the main. It's very hard to get in there, very hard to get out after doing any kind of damage. And like you said, that 4th base is so hard to defend. Oftentimes I'll just take the corner base because I feel that if they actually attack it, it's going to die. So I want them to attack further away. Taking that inset 4th base is very difficult to defend.
Yeah, and then if they do attack, you can just base race them.
Yeah.
And yes, there are definitely different ways to play this map. You could also just go for a fast hive and then try to defend it with Brute Lords. Play like a very fast hive game because you know Terran is very likely to 3cc, like what I like to do on here. But I saw Dongrigu also play Muta on here against Marine King, that crazy game where his creep was all the way across the map after like 10 minutes.
Dongrigu almost always opens Muta though, unless it's on dual site, then he'll go Infestor Ling. But he really prefers the Muta style just because it takes advantage of his multitasking and macros so well. So, I don't know, generally I feel like Stefano's style is very good on here. It's such a big spread out map that I like going into really fast ultralists off of ground opening. I think that's the best way to play, and then just attack all over and deny their 4th base forever. I feel much more comfortable doing that than Muta's on here.
And once again, BC is going for the 1-Rex CC. This time no Drone Scout and no gas, so once again 4 Queen opening most likely. I feel like KiLLeR's definitely improving his economy every single game. First game he lost to Drone Overlord, second game he didn't lose anything. Just lost mining time drone scouting, and now he's not drone scouting, so...
Yeah, it's interesting to watch his play kind of adapt to Beastie as they go through the series. It looks like he didn't know his style at all really going into the first game. Now he's realized he's a very economical player. He's not going to attack you early on. Yeah. There's no need to get that fast gas or to actually spend on the SUV scout.
This is how we would play against BC from the beginning, just...
Yeah.
Hatch, pool,
lots
50
of
drones
and yes.
Queens, and then start making some units and attack them. But Beastie also taking his double gas again. Nothing special happening. Factory Hellions definitely going to be used again in this game, and we'll see what he goes for a follow-up.
Yeah, he has opened with the Banshee build both the last 2 games. The first one he went for Cloak, the second game he went for a really fast Raven. The Raven with PDD gives you some potential to attack the 3rd base, but he ended up just using it for the mid-game push, and he actually used it to kill the hatchery as he was doing the push, dropping a bunch of auto turrets, using a Banshee in conjunction with that to take down the 3rd hatchery while KiLLeR was distracted. But both games opening with some form of a Banshee build. Again, would not be surprised at all to see that happening here. The factory is about to complete. We'll see if he pushes down a starport immediately or not.
It's going to be a really fast 3rd base again, this drone already ready. And he's patrolling it. I've seen this happen. Why would anyone patrol a drone on the 3rd base?
They don't like seeing the little F1 box in the bottom left, so I don't know. I think that's the only reason, which doesn't make much sense because F1 makes it easier to select. So
perfectionist. And there goes the hatchery on the 3rd base.
He likes to pretend that he has good macro.
So this is exactly how I would open against Beastie. You know, very economic opening, just gonna make drones. The Hellions are not out on the map yet. Here comes the first 2.
And he is going starport with, he is heading up towards Banshee once again. See if he puts down a 3rd command center. I can't imagine him going for that similar 2-base all-in again. I've seen him do that build before, but after having so much success the first game and then failing so badly in the second game, I can't imagine him going for that again.
It's a Roach Horn and it's 3 gases. I mean, this guy really likes gas.
Yeah, and not even a very fast double evolution chambers. Evolution chambers are late. If he was getting them right away, then he could afford incredibly fast 1-1 upgrades. But without them, the 3 gas makes no sense at all. I really don't understand him.
Looks like he just wants to get some roaches to defend against these Hellions that are once again going to see the third hatchery. And I really think Beastie will now turn down the command center, and yes, there we go, it is the command center. And he's just going to harass this hatchery that's morphing in, but the queens are showing up, and there's 3 roaches on the way with a lot of drones. So once again, just a very macro game of Dignitas.KiLLeR.
Yeah, and we see that he is going for Cloak and waiting for the second Banshee once again, and there's only 2 forward queens out from KiLLeR. So if he stays on that, if he doesn't get up any spores or a third queen, then those Banshees could be pretty dangerous. Well, we saw in the first game he reacted very, very well, and he does have the 2 evolution chambers going, so it should be okay.
Yeah, once again, it's going to be a big Hellion Banshee attack while the third base is going. And how many roaches does he have? He has 3, so he definitely needs a couple more with these queens to be totally safe, but he should be able to defend this.
He's also actually relatively open to a run by at his natural as well. And we saw in Ohana, at the same time as the Banshee came into third base, Beastie tried to run his Hellions into the natural. And if that happens in this game, that is something that KiLLeR looks pretty exposed to right now.
Yeah, he is getting 2 more roaches and spore crawlers, so I guess he didn't even see the starport, so he just assumed that BC would do the same thing. And that's going to work out very well for him. He's going to have these spores, and he did get cloak, so very good investment. And it seems like this is like the first game all over again, but this time I'd really like to see him make a lot of drones and take a 4th very fast, better than get a whole bunch of roachling and still give BC the opportunity to get that third base going and take a macro lead here.
Yeah, he is continuing the roach production. I don't know what his drone count is, but it doesn't look nearly as high as it should be.
Here's the 2 Banshees coming in, but there's already a spore, so he won't be able to do anything this game. Kill no queens, probably. These roaches are here. The natural is kind of open, so I don't know why these Hellions are at this watchtower. It's only 3 of them, but still, he could run into the natural and do damage. And now the Banshee's going to the main, there's no spore crawler there.
Kind of sloppy by KiLLeR. He actually only put down 2 spores, despite the fact that he had a good read on his opponent. He just very much so underreacted. It's going to cost him quite a bit, losing a lot of mining time and drones and queens, and just really distracting KiLLeR. We see KiLLeR's producing more units instead of any drones. So this is really putting a big damp on KiLLeR's economy.
14 workers killed, so that is a huge deal. And also, KiLLeR had the lair forever, but just didn't make an overseer, so the Banshees were in there for so long, just doing so much. Now 3 of them picking off a queen, but yes, it will die, and not a single Banshee is dead.
Very nice control by BC, spreading out the damage very well, knowing when he was able to engage and when he had to run away. And the 3 Banshee opening I really like a lot. If you're playing against someone who's opening up with Roachling, they're not going to have Muta anytime soon. Having those 3 Banshees out there is incredibly powerful. Even if infestors get out to deal with them, as long as you split up the Banshees and take multiple fungals, it's very cost efficient. And as is, it's just denied almost all of the creep spread. We see very poor creep spread from KiLLeR given a queen opening. Plus all the drone kills, all the queen kills. Beastie's in great shape right now.
Beastie actually just gave him the time to get his double E-base going. His armory is already almost done, so getting ready to go 2-2. He also took the lead in Harvesters for a short time. I think KiLLeR probably catched up again, or is catching up now, making more drones. But definitely the Banshee's getting into the main. Like KiLLeR looked so prepared with all his spores, all his queens, but Beastie just found the one opening where he could sneak in and take out all these drones. And now Beastie's in a very good position. Even though KiLLeR looked very prepared, and it's just going to be another one of those macro games where Beastie just gets 2-2 most likely. He's already getting 2-1 and will just max out or be very like 170, 180 supply and make a huge attack. And KiLLeR is taking the low ground 4th base, so this high ground is
really exposed. Yeah, if you get an advantage early on as Terran, you almost always have a 2-2 timing right before Hive comes out. That's incredibly powerful. And as long as BC hits that timing, I don't really see KiLLeR holding it off. He just lost 200 workers early on, and that 4th base is going to be really exposed. It'll take incredible fungals for him to hold it off. And he is not going Hive yet. His Hive is actually quite late here.
No Hive, and more Banshee harass, taking off 2 queens. And now once again, getting into the mineral line on 3rd base and taking out more drones. And this is horrible for KiLLeR. These Banshees have paid for himself in gold. 20 workers are dead now, and he's just keeping this up, and he is moving into the main now. He's going to be able to take up a few more drones on the gas. Very annoying. Also going to get this queen. This is just crazy. I've never seen 3 Banshees do this much damage 13 minutes into the game, while KiLLeR already got spores at like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And maybe even the pool is going to die. There's 2 queens that show up to support these Banshees, but he
does have a transfuse, so he should be able to save the pool.
He has 3
unless he doesn't
transfuses.
do it.
Now he will.
He does save the pool. But yeah, KiLLeR just really, really underreacted. He saw the Banshees pretty early on. He was prepared enough to hold off the initial wave of them. But to see the Cloak Banshees and just not put down any more Spore Crawlers was very negligent by him. And still no Hive at all. He's just going to have absolutely no way to hold off whenever BC decides to attack.
No Hive, only like 58 drones, and you know, he has this 4th base, but no Hive, so with supply at 170 already, and 2-2 almost done, BC is just undoubtedly just going to attack. And there's the Hive and the Spire, but I feel like it's just going to be too late. I mean, if he can get some amazing fungals with these infestors that are building up a lot of energy, and get this creep spread up there, because he definitely need that. Maybe he can do something, but here Beastie goes. He knows it's time to attack and win the game. His 2-2 will be finished. He's just going to walk right up to the high ground here. It's very easy for him to get there. He scans and sees the whole army of KiLLeR that's moving in right now, so he sieges up. And if Beastie executes this like we know he can and like he has in the previous games, then I think he should be...
Wow, he actually moves in and snipes 3 infestors there. 3 infestors with a nearly full mana, a lot of mana built up for just a handful of bio. That was a really, really good trade from BC there. He can actually outproduce KiLLeR at this point. He has so much economy, so much infrastructure that he can afford to just keep trading units like that. As long as fungals don't get off on his army, there's almost no way he can lose this.
And here we go, the Roachling moving in, but he decides to back off. There's 2 tanks on the low ground. Very hard to get to. Getting a fungal on a few units to the side, but now they move into tank rage and take so much splash damage, and with the way Beastie is set up here, it's going to be very difficult for KiLLeR to break. He does have Burrow halfway done. One solution could be to Burrow and, you know, land some infested Terrans on those tanks, but as of right now, there's not much he can do. He does have his Greater Spire on the way, and he has 71 drones, so he does have somewhat of an economy where he could go Brute Lords off, but I feel like BC will just kill this base. And KiLLeR actually decides to move in now.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy there. Beastie's first mistake in unit movement here was actually caught on siege and moving in here and killing off a lot of units. Huge fungals on all the bio, and all of the tanks actually go down. That's not a planetary just yet. He might be able to get in and force a cancel on it, but probably not, as we have more reinforcements coming in from KiLLeR. Yeah, and he'll be able to repair.
More reinforcements coming in. He does need to repair, though. He actually cancels it. I'm not sure if that was necessary, but now KiLLeR can take this position. And wow, I just can't believe how that battle went. Beastie was completely unsieged.
Yeah, I was just about to comment on how good Beastie's unit positioning and unit control was. He was just using a handful of bio to scare him off. He had his tanks in great position. Then he just had everything on siege right at the moment that KiLLeR came in. And it really gave KiLLeR an opportunity to get back in this game, kill off a lot of army. But if you look at the supply, it's still plus 30 for BastyQt. He has full infrastructure. He's getting his 4th base up. And his 4th base is in push distance of KiLLeR's 4th base. So KiLLeR starts to be really uncomfortable.
He started the Raven production, so he knows that the Brute Lords are coming, and there's 8 of them morphing in right now. And but it looks like Beastie is getting ready for this. He still has a very healthy economy. His +3 is coming. He needs to get his armor too. But yeah, I think KiLLeR just did a really good job knowing when to attack. I'm not sure if he saw them on siege or if he just decided to go, but very good for him. He still has a chance now. And you know, last game I kind of felt like Beastie didn't seem to have an answer to the Brute Lord Infestor, which we're going to see now. So if he can really work wonders with these Ravens, he'll probably be okay, but it's still going to be very interesting to see how these compositions are going to match up against each other.
Yeah, Beastie, he hasn't had time to build up any energy on the Ravens. I don't think he even has a PDD yet. He doesn't have a lot of Vikings. He just has 2 in production. I think he has 1 or 2 on the field. He's almost definitely going to lose that 4th base. It's just a matter if he can do enough damage behind it to make it okay and then get up a big Viking count. He does have a small little group of bio moving to the bottom right to attack that expansion down there. That will be taken out. But there's just no way he can hold off this Brood Lord army for right now. He really, really needs to get that Viking count up, and quickly.
Yeah, his decision to take that expansion so close to where KiLLeR is, like, seemed to be a good choice, because he was so close to attacking 4th base, but now that the Brood Lords are out, it's just not working out for him, and he's going to lose his 4th base and be stuck on 3 base, where he's almost mined out in his main and his natural. And he is getting a lot of Ravens, but I feel like he's not going to have enough time to get mass energy on the Ravens. He really needs Vikings, and you know, KiLLeR's is already knocking on his door and going for it, and all these units are so clumped. If he can get good fungals with the tank siege up, and the tanks are going to attack these infestors, but they kill like
all
3
the
of them.
infestors die to the tanks. That was really, really poor control by KiLLeR. Those infestors, he really needed to keep those alive. As is, those Broodlords can just get whittled down by the Thors and the bio army of BastyQt. Those infestors, if he had kept those alive, he would have won with this attack.
These Thors doing a ton of damage. There's Marines everywhere. He still has a few Broodlords alive, but they're all so low on health There's 2 more Vikings. If he can just take these Bootlords down, he can just clean up this whole army. And KiLLeR actually made a lot more Zerglings and is now streaming them in. If they can get to the barracks and all the production before he cleans up the Brute it can still be very dangerous for BC. Because once there's lings all over your building structure, you can't really make new units. He's going to clean up all these SCV. This is still a very good attack for KiLLeR, I feel like.
Yeah, but in this entire attack, KiLLeR's just completely ignored that 4th base. It's running at full saturation for BCQT, so he has really, really good income. In fact, much better than KiLLeR's. So if BC does manage to clear this up, he's going to be in great shape. It's just a matter of holding it off. And there's only the 2 Broodlords left. He definitely should be able to kill off that army. There's no good support. Those Corruptors aren't particularly useful because BC isn't even making isn't even using his Vikings. So it does look like BC is stabilized, and he now has a pretty big economic lead. And an Ultra Cavern actually coming down from KiLLeR. I'm not sure if I like that. I don't really see him getting up critical mass of Ultras to break anything anytime soon.
Takes out a command center though with the Corruptors. That is good. But I really feel like, look at BC's like money. You say he's got good income, but all he has is this 4th base with a PF. This is mined out. This will be soon.
But if you compare it to KiLLeR's income,
yeah,
he only has 53 harvesters.
And these drops on his 4th are just constantly harassing him. He had to cancel on the 5th base as well. KiLLeR doesn't have any more Brute Lords. He doesn't have money to afford Brute Lords. He has 1 million infestors. Let me see how many. 9 infestors. That's not quite a million.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Another army moving out from Beastie, and there's actually almost no real units here from KiLLeR. Mana or infestors are great support units, but eventually he's going to run out of mana, and he can't kill that army with infestors alone.
Yeah,
really good spread by Beastie, minimizing the effect of the infestors.
Yeah, the infestors are trying to move up, but they can't go by themselves. The tank will just take them apart, and Beastie is going to be able to send units forward very slowly, in small groups at a time, and just wait for all these fungals to be out, and then take out this base and probably take the game and go to the final.
Yeah. 2 Ultras already out, 2 more in production, but just too many units and not enough good support. He really needs Lings and Banelings and a lot of Infestors along with those Ultras to have any chance here. And BC just continues to stream in units. Not sure if that's the best idea. He does have the economic lead. He should be just sitting back and stabilizing. However, he might have enough of a lead to just win anyway, despite throwing away these units.
Yeah, he's going to lose these tanks, but he still damages the Ultras a lot. And I think that just because KiLLeR now is barely mining anything, he's just not going to be able to make much of an army anymore to turn his game around.
Yeah, he has essentially no income at this point. He lost both of the gas geysers at the 4th base. His 3rd base is barely mining. His main is mined out. He just has no money coming in from anywhere. Whereas Beastie's running essentially on 2 bases with 3 orbitals. So he's lifting off one of the orbitals. So he's still in really good shape economically. In fact, he has a 10 harvester lead at 25 minutes in the game, which is something Zerg just really does not want to deal with.
Well, it looks like he actually might want to move into this BF, but I think he realizes there's not much he can do. Those 4 Ravens now definitely building up energy, so we'll see what he can do with them later. But it looks like KiLLeR is just going to keep making Ultras, and whenever BC is ready, he will probably just attack again. He's making a lot of Marauders, more Ravens, Hunter Seeker Missile. This base can't land because of a Burrowed Zergling, the 5th base of Beastie, but I'm sure he will clean that up shortly, and then he's just going to have an amazing economy. And I think he knows it. He's getting down some bunkers and knows that if he just doesn't die, he should have a way bigger army. And some Marines and some Marauders running to the 4th base again. Take out an Infestor, and then take out more drones. This is so painful.
Really nice little attack by him there. He's done this in all of the games so far, just fragmenting off little chunks of his bio army and being very, very annoying with them. And yeah, obviously that makes no difference to his main army, but at the same time he's killing a hatchery, he's putting KiLLeR all in, and he'll easily defeat this army given those circumstances. So really nice, smart little move by him there.
So many
one
times.
Infestor. And the Ultras just immediately melt, barely killing any units at all. And that'll be GG. There's no way KiLLeR can afford to reproduce after losing all of that army and losing his 4th hatchery.
4 Ultras. Good game. BC takes it 2-1.